This message goes out to the World Series of Fighting, Mr. Ray Sefo, and the American people at large. I'm DIABLO CBC, OBSH, Rash Antifa United States, Worldwide Sharp, Anti-Fascist Action South Florida. And if you don't know what that means, it means that I'm an anti-fascist, anti-racist activist, street level, involves fighting against Nazi skinheads and Nazi skinhead gangs and organized fascist groups. Now, the order of the day, the reason I come to you is the recent situation involving a certain Dustin Holyko from Florida who was fired for allegations that he has neo-Nazi tattoos and also things concerning his criminal past. Now then, I immediately reached out to my channels to find out if this man was indeed an actual neo-Nazi or involved in some neo-Nazi skinhead group or white power organization, or he was merely somebody who was in the Florida prison system, as it seems that he would state, and that some of these tattoos are a result of that environment. So to this moment, it's been nearly 24 hours. I've received no confirmation whatsoever that he's ever been a part of any organized skinhead group or white power racist group. I checked out the man's tattoos. He has white and pride over here. So he has white pride tattooed on his arms, for sure. They say he has SS runes or bolts somewhere, although I didn't see those. And to shed light a little bit on my background, I've been in the Florida prison system, and I've also been, unfortunately, dealt with ill by Florida police. And some people may not understand how our police operate, but where I'm from, they're gangsters. I'm not from Deland, where this man's from. But the police where I'm from sell dope and kill people, murder people, rob people openly. It's not really a big thing. Everybody knows they're the most powerful gang. And they will hit you with a lot of charges, including some of the charges they hit this man with, which they've hit me with, which could be from a domestic battery to escape charge for escaping a car. So in Florida, they will hit you with a lot of charges. Where they be just or not, they'll throw it against the wall and see what sticks in an effort to hem you up for the rest of your life, because the Florida prison industry is a tremendous thing for the Florida economy. And this is not something that's fantasy, this is fact. So, as I listen to the man's story, and he says he got those tattoos when he was in a prison situation, in case people are not familiar with these things, which they're not. Because all you armchair anti-racist sitting out there talking about how you're not racist and your best friend is white or black or whatever it is, you mean nothing. Me and my friends who are the front line, who fight Nazi skinheads, who risk our lives, who go to prison, who die for these things, we are the experts. And also not the activists sitting home on the internet deciding who they think is a Nazi. We are the ones who will decide who are Nazis, not you, the experts. So with this young man, I check him out. And indeed, if he got those SS bolts, you guys got to understand, in Florida, that's called cracker bolts. And it's normal for white boys to have them. The black boys are typically victimizing the white boys in Florida prison system, whether it's justified or not, and trying to bang them and trying to take all their shit. It's a very small minority, which are like the white powers and the Aryan Brotherhood, who actually stick together. So it's something that's expected in the Florida prison system. And indeed, it is an anti-white situation. I'm Latino. Latinos stick together. We do our own thing. People respect us. But at the same time, we got some white boys that roll with us. But it's not unusual that a white boy will get swastikas and get all those other kind of tattoos in a prison situation. Doesn't mean they're an actual neo-Nazi. And anybody who's familiar with the Aryan Brotherhood knows that it's not a neo-Nazi street political organization as such. So, I think that Mr. Sefo, you are in grave danger, along with NBC, of violating this man's civil rights, in that you have done no investigation whatsoever. It seems that he says some of these charges were dropped. Firing this man, not suspending him, firing him, and thus branding him a racist and a Nazi, you are arguably ruining the man's life and the lives of his family. He has said he is not. He trains with people who are of multi-cultures. And if this is not enough for you, then I suggest that you talk to Dana White, who has my Latino brother Cain Velasquez with a big brown pride tattoo across his chest. And that's in the EA video games and everything. So you are potentially creating a very bad situation, not only for your organization, who may be guilty, in fact, of violating this man's civil rights, but you're creating a greater divide among the American people who must ask themselves, why can Cain Velasquez have brown pride and this man can't have white pride? So I would suggest to you that immediately, upon your hearing of this video, you reinstate him The man was just defeated by a Gracie. So anybody who fights a Gracie is in the history of martial arts and MMA and jiu-jitsu. So the man is not somebody who just came off the street. He is obviously talented enough to be fighting on this level. So I would suggest that you immediately reinstate him, and furthermore, that you give him a stipulation that he must cover up the SS bolts. Because in prison it might just mean cracker bolts and it might be a normal thing, but to Jewish people and to people who are anti-fascist, those represent the shoot staff on the SS. So that tattoo should be covered up. But unless Cain Velasquez is willing to cover up the tattoo across his chest, then this young man should not have to cover up the white pride on his arms. And in fact, let it be known you're doing something very dangerous in that there are Nazi fighters and fascist fighters in Europe who I won't mention the names, so I won't give them any more unnecessary exposure. But these fellas might think, a smart promoter over there might think it wise to pick this man up, bring him over there, and make a Nazi white power fighting organization. You are running that risk by alienating this man. Maybe you will force him to go further into that movement, even though he wasn't truly into it. So you run a lot of risks with the course of action you take, if I may say. And for those Nazis out there that want to do MMA and want to fight, I heard they got some special techniques and stuff like that. I heard that the Fuhrer and Adolf Eichmann and these guys working some type of levitation techniques or something like that. But brother, for whatever you think of, we can think of something to counter it. I don't know, Hebrew back kick. That could be one thing. Mexican liver punch. Who knows? Anchor punch. And that I learned from Jack Johnson. So we're not worried about Nazis entering the MMA world, you see. There's no problem. They can do that if they wish to fight with honor, although they did not treat my people with honor, may I say. But in regard to this man, you are wrongly accusing him of, in my opinion, and I'm the authority. So I'll give you 24 hours to make a public statement and either be prepared to go to court on a civil rights lawsuit against this man, because I will not, as a man of color and as a Jewish person, stand by and watch as people unfairly condemn white people and try to punish them for things that have happened hundreds of years ago. In 2014, brother, Antifa, rash, sharp, we trying to do away with the notions of race. And people that want to cling to those ideas and be divisive will find themselves on the wrong end of my wrath. You heard it here. I give you 24 hours, Ray Sefo, World Series of Fighting.